Because we don't want to take any chances. What if I accidentally fucking delete the floor and can't get it back? You know what I mean? Then I only have to start from right there. So try to save at every room. It's a big help. Now, at the other end of this entrance here, there's a footlocker. And I'm going to grab this footlocker. Well, per se, I'm not going to actually grab the footlocker. I'm going to get the base object of this footlocker. And then I'm going to take that information back to the beginning. And what we're going to do is, we're going to set up a whole bunch of shit box. So that's what we're going to call it. This is the box that's carrying all the shit that that's holding all the shit that we've been carrying all this time. Set up a can. Okay, I set up that can for a reason. And I'll show you why. We're going to set the box right here in this corner on top of the can. So we're going to play set me 000A 281F 1. Enter. That gives us a footlocker. Okay? Now this will give us a chance to talk about several things. And it's important, but we'll get there. So first we're going to rotate to get this, let's get this thing into position. Wrong rotate. It's going the wrong way. I want it to come back towards us, so I'm going to minus 50 instead, so it goes towards us. Small amounts, because it's, I don't know, it's just, it starts acting funky if you give it too big of an amount. So to get position X, because Y, if you remember from over there, we're still facing off the stairs. Y is still running this direction. And X is still running in this direction. So, we're looking for position X. And, 1990. Let's see. Set position X. Let's go to 2000 and see what happens. Comes forward. That's perfect. So let's go to 2050. That was way too high, as you can see. As long as you haven't deselected it yet, it's still in your hands. You still got it. That looks pretty good. Oh, we can actually afford to go down a little more. 505. That's good, right there. 2005 is the right spot. Now, obviously, I would like to reclaim that can first. So what I'm going to do is get position Z, set position Z, 71, let's do 7200. That's going to move it up enough that I can reclaim that can. But you'll notice, I can't seem to get to the can because the footlocker's in the way. That's because the footlocker itself is still where we spawned it. You'll notice we can't open the footlocker looking at the footlocker. But we can target the footlocker by clicking on the footlocker. See, the game has, I don't really know how to explain it. Let's just pretend that there's like an extra bit of metadata or something that is attached to where that box's hitbox is. For example, you can only click on it or open it when you're looking at, pretend like there's a ghost image of it. That's the only part you can click on. And those two need to be lined up. What you do in that situation is disable, enable. That will refresh its entire box. Now, I can get the tin can. And the footlocker is, the two are merged. The ghost image of the footlocker, where we can click on it, and then the ghost image of the footlocker where you can see it. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. Get position Z. Set position Z. What was the original position? I can't remember. Who cares? Let's set it to 7100 to see what happens. Too low. How about 7150? Almost. 70. That looks pretty good. 75. Let's do 71. Oh, it looks like it needs to go back down to 70. So we'll go back down to 70. See, now it still kind of looks like it's hovering on the floor, but it's not so bad. It's barely noticeable, so it's fine to me. Alright. So what do we have to do to get it to move to its new native location? Disable, enable, poof. We now have an official footlocker where it's supposed to be. And we have officially made a footlocker. Now, check this out. Oh, I got to, You'll notice that when I target that footlocker and type player, which is us, .isOwner, is the player the owner. WesleyB, which is our name, well, my name anyway, is not the owner. We want to make sure that WesleyB is the owner, because the way this game works is pretend that you found this vault, and there's 100 other people scavenging out in the wasteland right now with you. Every time you walk away from this vault, someone else is going to check it out. If you come back in a few days, things that you had put inside this box might not be there no more, like purified water, for example. We want to be able to keep the stuff that we're going to be putting in it. We want to turn this into the Megaton house, where people can't, we want to make it safe containers. So what we're going to do is first, we're going to set this bitch, which I believe we do by set. Let me look at my list real fast. It tells me. Yes. For this, we're going to do reference ID, which in this particular situation is FF001252 dot set ownership. Now, if I type in that same reference ID and type is owner, WesleyB is the owner of the footlocker with that reference ID. Make sense? Now, we are the owner of this content storage. If I go back to the Megaton house, for example, and then click on one of the lockers that's there, and then get its reference ID, type its reference ID in, am I the owner of this particular container? A dead body counts as a container. And his reference ID is 000BCDD0 dot is owner. Well, you're going to have errors. We're also going to have crashes, so, be aware of that, because we're playing with the game in a way that it's not meant to be played with. So anyway, if I go back to the Megaton lockers in your house, in the house that's at Megaton, and I try to find out the ownership of those particular lockers, it's going to tell me that we are the owner. The player is the owner. But not only that, the player is also the owner of the cell. The cell is literally from door to door. If you, like TFC, if I go back into TFC and fly through this wall, there's a vast emptiness that we're just floating in. That is sort of the map. When we look down, let's go up a little higher. When we look down, we see vast emptiness with this little map floating in the middle of it, right? This is the level that we're on. This is the entrance of Vault 108. If we go through the door that's right over here, right? That leads to the living quarters, and the door way down there leads to the cloning labs, and the door up there leads to the, outside. Okay, the exterior. There are 4 cells. Beyond that door is Vault 108 exterior. Beyond, or inside here, of course, this is Vault 108 entrance. And then beyond this door is Vault 108 living quarters. But I want to tell you something. If I fly through behind this door, we have gone beyond this door, right? Well, we're still inside Vault 108 entrance. You actually have to use the door to be transported to the cell. See, all of this vast emptiness that we see, as long as we are in Vault 108 entrance's cell, all of this vast emptiness counts as Vault 108's entrance. That counts as that cell. And you have to be the owner of a cell to make sure everything in this box stays safe. Even if you're the owner of the box, you should be the owner of the cell just for the safety just to make it a matter of safety. So what you want to do is, where you pick your location, wherever you decide to settle down, wherever you decide to survive and run your Let's Scavenge, you need to get your cell ID, which you can do by Googling that location and going to the wiki. The wiki has the cell reference IDs in their lists. Probably not every single one of them. Probably not every single cell that's out there, but most places you will be able to find a cell ID for. And you can easily use that number that ID to set the cell ownership so that you own the cell. That means you'll own most of everything that's in the cell. People won't come in from the waste and fuck with your shit. It becomes your home. And that's what we're trying to do here, basically. So, I took the liberty of getting my cells ahead of time. But another thing I wanted to mention was I chose a cell that doesn't respawn. These dead bodies that I have killed, Gary, everybody's been through Vault 108, especially if you played Fallout 3. Vault 108's full of Garys, clones. And when you kill the Garys, if you stay here, you could sleep here for 6 days. You could sleep here for a month. You could go outside and come back a month later. All the Garys are still dead. They do not respawn. But if you were to go to some place like the Bethesda Ruins, which is full of raiders, if you go inside there and kill all the raiders and then come back outside and then sleep in a car for a week and then go back in, the raiders are back. They respawn. If you're going to pick a place to survive for your Let's Scavenge, probably shouldn't pick a place that's going to respawn. Because then you'll have to kill raiders every time you go back in after you've gone for a scavenging run. That would be pretty annoying, especially if you start spawning in people for villagers and whatever. Townspeople. So yeah, you should probably pick a place. I chose this vault because this vault doesn't have any devastating effects on it, like water. It's not flooded. It's not radiated. It seems to be a pretty decent vault, so I chose it. But, yeah, you should pick a place that's not going to respawn. And pretty much most places that are quest-based are, like a vault, for example, are not going to respawn. You could choose anywhere you want, even if you want to pick the Bethesda Ruins, if that's really what you want to do. There might even be a way to disable the respawn that's happening. I don't know. I'm not going to dick around with it that hard to find out. I'm just going to raid the Bethesda Ruins and take all their shit. Wahaha! But anyway, so yeah, we dealt with that. And what were we talking about a minute ago? Shit. Oh, the cell. Yes, we got to deal with the cell ID. So let's deal with the cell ID. I took the liberty of getting my cell IDs ahead of time, and I'm going to set my ownership of those cell IDs right now. If I type in player dot, well, of course I've got to have my console up. Player dot is cell owner. Okay. Of cell ID, let's see, we're at entrance 0001 852D. Oh, well, what did I type wrong? I forgot the 2. 2D. There we go. WesleyB is not the owner. If I type the same thing, but instead set cell ownership. Okay, now we go back to this one. Is cell owner. WesleyB is now the owner. So, as it sits, I own this cell, this room. From here to, well, from the entrance to the living quarters to the cloning lab, everything that you see here is now mine. I own it. That's basically us laying claim to it, right? Okay. Now I want to do the same thing for all of my cells. Whoops. Ownership. I want to do the same thing for all the cell IDs except for the exterior. I'm not going to own the exterior yet. If we expand beyond the confines of this vault, perhaps, but I won't worry about it right now. So let's do the living quarter, which is 0001 8530. Boom. So I now own the living quarters. And 8533 is the cloning lab. I now own the cloning lab. So I own all the rooms. I own everything inside this vault. From that crappy wooden door at the beginning all the way to the back of it. So, most of it's going to stay safe. Chances are highly likely the contents of all these won't respawn much. But since I'm trying to be storing stuff in here, I wanted to make sure I owned the content or the locker itself as well. The foot locker is now empty. And what we're going to do is pick up all this stuff that we've got laying around that we don't want to have to disable and respawn. Because I may use these empty cans for something. You never know. This is survival. Every small thing, every little thing has a purpose. So anyway, I don't need to carry pretty much any of this. I'm not going to worry about those. Keep a good couple of good guns on me just in case. Alright? Keep my armor on me. But everything I'm carrying can be put down now. I don't need to put that stuff away now. It has a pound or capacity. Whoops. So I've reduced my capacity significantly, right? There's the ammo. Alright, so I'm down to like what? 54 pounds? Or 54 weight out of 200. I don't really know if that's pounds or ounces or capacity. How do you want to look at it? This keeps me moving around nice and fast. And that's important. Because I don't want to have to fucking walk as slow as possible. Because I'm over encumbered. So what I can do... Whoops. What I can do is... collect everything that you can see. So I'll go through this entire vault and collect everything that can be seen, that can be picked up anyway, like cans, for example, or whatever. Books, ruined books. But I'm going to do it room by room. I feel it's smarter to go room by room, at least when you're doing this particular part of the process. Go room by room so that you can clean it up and save. You know what I mean? See, we saved. Let's go ahead and save again. It's been quite a while since we've saved. I don't want to make any mistakes. So save. WesleyB. Now I can go through and start at least getting rid of the trash. I'm going to do that. Disable. It's really fast if you can do it right. Okay. We're going to go through and we're going to pretend that we have a broom and a mop and whatever. And we're sweeping shit up. If you want to wait until you find a broom and mop to do this, that's even more realistic and cool. Go for it. I'm also going to pretend that we've gone through and since we started some fires in the vault, we've managed to get some of the... Let's pretend like... Because, I got these computers that are working. Let's pretend we were able to fiddle with it and get the air... I don't know what they call it, air supply thingy back online and got rid of these fucking fog. All this gross fog. We'll deal with that in a minute, though. We're going to do this room first. I think we've actually gotten rid of all the fog in this room. I don't see any anyway. Guess if I find any later, then I'll know. Yeah, it looks pretty good. I'm not going to delete anything like the chair, for example, because I don't have the base object of any of the chairs yet, and... So, right now it's just trash. We're just cleaning up. Ah, see? Pay attention to when that happens. You don't want that to happen to you. The further you are away from something, the harder it is to click on it, and you might miss. And that happens to me a lot. So I'm prepared myself for it. But as long as you don't click on the next piece of garbage, you're okay. Just hit enable before you continue. Alright. That looks pretty good. We got trash out of that room. Okay, so we already have the cinder blocks written down. So I'm going to go ahead and mark those down. There's four. We got 4. Yeah, it looks like there's 4 in this room. So I'm going to actually just put a line on my cinder blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4. Put 4 more lines next to it. And I'll count that shit up later and add it into my database. And I do that because it's a little easier to find what you're looking for when you go to spawn it in somewhere else. Cinder block will start with a C. And I can go straight to C, and pull out cinder block. Watch how much trash disappears in this area. Poof! In one shot. Look at that. It's crazy, isn't it? Some of the decals for trash are huge. Some of them are really, really small. Some of the decals for this trash make really good desktop items. Like if you have a desk for a science lab or something. It's really cool to put some of this trash up. Maybe not some of this trash, but there are some trash in here that looks nice on a desktop. Give you an example. This one right here. In fact, later in other areas of the game, I see fog. That wasn't the fog. Don't want to take any chances. Try one more time. That wasn't the fog. Okay, I'm not going to fuck with it. Maybe it was the fog and I just don't know it. Well, I don't know what it was. Weird. So anyway, yeah, there's some desk items just look really good. Some things just look really good. Somewhere other places in the game, they have these little pieces of trash that are sitting on top of the desks to make it look a little more like someone's been there, someone's working on something, but yeah. Okay, so anyway, decals. Wall decals. Obviously, this blood spatter is not a part of this computer. So we can remove it. But that blood spatter is also really cool looking. If you wanted to get the base object of that and use it somewhere else, you could. That's up to you. Just remember, you can do that. Another thing to note is this is clearly one object. Okay? Especially if you click somewhere and disable and the whole thing disappears. See, you can't get rid of like this little handle, for example. It's all part of the same object. See that? It's all part of the same object. You're not going to be able to make just that one piece disappear. So it's also important to note that some things you just can't, you just won't be able to get rid of if they're attached to something. And then sometimes you might see two things combined into one element to make it look cooler. I will give you an example sometime. I'm just not going to worry about it right now. Alright, so anyway, continue removing the trash in this room. Oop. Disable. There we are. Now, these wooden planks, for me, are going to be a legacy item. And I'll explain that later. But they're one of those items that we're not worried about how many we have on hand. Blood stains, blood spatter. And I'll add that to my legacy items list. Yeah. Oh, there we are. I knew I saw more. Damn blood spatter. Somebody came in and mopped that shit up. Get rid of these. And see, this is the tedious part of it. Yes, it is. It does get a little bit tedious. I get that, and I understand it. But I have so much fun when I play it like this, and I promise that if you're anything like me, you will too. Okay, so that's the end of that room. Looks like we've got most of the trash, if not all the trash, out of this room. And most of the wall decals and blood spatter is gone, so we're going to deal with these items next. And that is going to be... Let's call one wooden plank. Let's call it, in fact, I can show you that right now. There's that, those three wooden planks, right? And then there's also a dark version of it. So I'm going to call those three the light wooden planks. And they're going to get added to the legacy item list. So I'll just put an L big L in a circle. And then get the base object, GBO. I will be able to spawn these in at will at any time, period. I don't have to worry about how many of these I have on hand, and I'll explain why later. 0003, let's see, 4 zeros, 390. And I'm also going to, underneath that, I'm going to add table. Let's see, metal table. Table. And how about desk chair? Desk chair. Okay. I'm going to leave that light where it's at because I kind of like that. Kind of looks like it's blinding people who come in. So this might be a good spot for a security detail. Anyway, okay, so we can remove these now because we have their base object and we know we can spawn them in at free will. And those are light planks. Did I write down the name? No, I didn't. Light. We're going to call it 3 light plank. Okay. Disable that one. Now, let's get the base object of this table. GBO. Let's make sure it's the table. Yes, it is. Okay, so we got that's me. Write that down. 0004 2653. And I put that next to metal table, so I knew what it was. And I put a 1 because I am worried about how many of those I have. So I have 1 metal table technically in my inventory now. These chairs, there's 1 right there. There's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay? But I want to show you something about these chairs. We know we have 7, so I'm going to write 7 next to desk chair, so I know that there's 7 desk chairs. But I want to show you something. I can't sit in this chair, so it has absolutely no functional value for me whatsoever. I could stand it up, but I still wouldn't be able to sit in it, because it doesn't have a script for sitting in it, or an animation for sitting in it, tied to it. That is the base object of that chair, 0003A30F. But don't write that down, because that's not the base object we want. This chair, however, has an animation for sitting in it. And that's a functional chair, especially if you sit in from the side. Because you got to watch out for that. Some animations you sit in from the front, so it'll put you inside the table when you stand up. You don't want that. So this chair is a good chair. So we're going to use the base object for this chair for all 7 chairs. So this is the base object. Oh, for fuck's sake. Yeah, there we go. I got the right one. 00003F0F instead of A30F. This chair, when spawned, will have that animation and functionality tied to it. It's a totally different chair, and that's the one that we want. So 0000. Let me write that down. 3F0F. 3F0F. So we have 7 functional chairs, because, I mean, in the real world, you're going to stand that chair up and sit on it. You know what I mean? So now that we have all that information written down, we can start getting rid of chairs. We know we have 7 chairs. Ooh, that might be cutting it close. Yes. Okay. And there's number 7. All right. Voila, we have 7 chairs. We have cleaned out pretty much this entire room, and I'm going to go ahead and grab this while I'm at it, whatever this thing is. This is a step ladder. Doesn't really have a functional purpose, just a collision to it. That's maybe about the best, but I still want it. So 0000477F1. We have 1 of those, and that's step ladder. I'm going to say metal step ladder because I think I've seen a wooden one before. So metal step ladder. Okay. Took care of that. And we can disable it. Because we've picked it up. It's ours now. We've taken it. And now I've covered this entire first room, and now is a good time to save it. Now, regarding the wood, if you go outside and look at any building, you're going to find wood. Hell, even the front of our vault has wood on it. In a realistic scenario, you're going to find those 3 planks all over the place, even if you have to rip it off of what was left of your neighbor's house. Okay? There's wood everywhere. It may not seem like it, but there is. There is reclaimable, at least there's wood that looks like these planks everywhere. Especially like these planks. So, everywhere. So there's no point in actually worrying about where or how much you have on hand, because if you do, you could do that if you really wanted to. I mean, like, every pile of debris you come up to, if you see a wooden plank, add a wooden plank to your inventory. Cool. You know, it's up to you. I'm not going to get that fucking complicated with it. It's already complicated enough as it is. So, yeah. I'm going to stop here, because this is where our save point was. So I'm going to stop here, and I'm going to go eat. So we'll pick up later. Hopefully you've been able to follow me up to this point. If not, I'm sorry. If you are, and you look forward to this, I may be putting this on for Thursdays and Fridays. We'll see. I may even start streaming it this way. I'm not sure if I will, but, you know, give me your thoughts on that. Feedback. If you want to see it on Thursdays and Fridays, if you want to see me stream it on Saturdays, let me know. It's up to you guys, you know, because I have fun playing it either way. So yeah,